Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Spring Porter with Spring Solutions LLC. In this video, I'm doing a part 2 to the District of Connecticut. This is the payout part where I'm showing you the payment that I received. It did come in the form of a check. I'm also going to be going over 5 tips that you probably can use as a locator. This is specific to bankruptcy unclaimed funds. If you are interested in hearing about these things, please stay tuned. Please note that I am not an attorney. This information is not indicated as legal advice. Hi everyone, thanks again for tuning into my channel. So as I mentioned in this video, I am going over the District of Connecticut. This is the part 2 where I show you the payout. And I'm also going to be giving you 5 tips. These are questions, again, that come up often, and I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. So I'm going to just give you some extra tips on what you should do. These are both for students and for people that are not students that are just tuning in. Just 5 tips. I'll put that at the end of this particular video. So again, this check came on the 4th for this particular deal in Connecticut. Now, I did request that these funds come to me in electronic fund transfer, but again, and I keep reiterating to you, all the districts are slightly different, and this one will only issue you a check. And so although I got a few orders granted last month, they were granting the application for unclaimed funds go to me. I am waiting on the payments for a few of them because there is a 14-day waiting period, and we'll go over that in order because it is written on there. But basically there's a 14-day waiting period because the judge will issue the order, and then someone from the accounting department will take that order and give it to the U.S. Treasury Department, and then they will cut the check. So there's sort of like a process that is going on behind the scenes, and that takes time to do. So in case you were wondering, that is why there is a small delay in that. And so here is a closer look. It's 3418.53. That's what the deal is for. I asked for 15%. 512.77 is what I'm getting out of this particular check. Again, the courts are not going to issue 2 checks. The U.S. Treasury Department is only going to issue 1 payment, and that is the same for, let's say there are joint filers, like a husband and wife, and then they split up and then they have different addresses. They're still only going to issue 1 check. So it is up to you as the funds locator, me, to take my part out and write another payment to the client. So if you're doing this and you're doing my method, you're going to be tasked with following up and doing the accounting part of it to issue the remaining funds to your client, just so you know. So anyway, this case against from 2018, here's a closer look at the order. It's a Chapter 13 case. I think it got dismissed for failure to make plan payments, I believe. April 14th is when I filed the application to the court with all the documents that I needed. And then there were no issues. No one filed an objection. And then the order was issued on May the 10th. And basically it just says that the clerk is allowed to basically send the payment to me. 3418.53. You see, it doesn't have my part 512.77. It has the whole amount, and it goes directly to me and to my address. And again, they issued this check on May the 10th. And although it was May the 10th, again, the check was cut on June the 4th. So you can start to gauge like how long it will take you from beginning to end. And this is basically giving you the turnaround time. And this is not bad, right? And so down here on the footnote of the order, and I think most of the orders will say that. If it doesn't say it, it still probably applies to them. The clerk will disperse these funds not earlier than 14 days after the entry of this order. So May the 10th, and then I got June the 4th. So that's the timetable. And that's basically it. Here's a closer look at the check. You can see there's identifying information of the debtor's case number here at the bottom, which I've blacked out. It just says debtor's refund. And then again, it was cut on the 4th of this month, and then it goes directly to me. And so basically, again, I do a mobile deposit. I don't always go to the bank because I don't need to. So again, I've reiterated to you how important it is to have a good relationship with your bank, especially if you're doing, a business and things like this where you're going to need checks and have mobile deposits. Go ahead and do that. I have a stamp that they gave me from when I ordered checks, and I just put that stamp right on there and I do the mobile deposit. And it's just really easy to do it that way as opposed to always making a few trips to the bank and then the post office. You want to try to limit all that. So just do it from home, and then you get business checks and you write it out. So that is helpful. And I hope that is helpful to you in learning how to do this. So yeah, check out Connecticut. The process there was pretty smooth and pretty quick to work in. So now we're going to go into the tips that I'm going to give you on how to be a bankruptcy unclaimed funds specialist and just make things go a little bit smoother. All right, so stay tuned. Okay, so tip number 1, know who is getting the funds back. That is the most important tip I think that's on here. You have to make sure that you are reading the dockets properly. Make sure that you know, is it the debtor that's getting money back or is it the creditor that's getting money back? Okay. It can be disastrous if you are reaching out to someone who doesn't have the funds. You make it a point to send everything to the court and they don't even have the money coming back to them. You're just going to be wasting a lot of people's times. So make sure you know that process. If you are unable to figure it out on your own, you can't figure it out by using, the information that I have on my YouTube channel, consider taking my course. Consider reaching out to an attorney maybe and seeing if maybe they can help you do it. Just don't try it on your own if you're unclear. That's probably the worst thing that you can do. The second thing, glance to see if the debtor is deceased. Now, there are deceased claims. There's an extra hurdle that you have to go through to get them because you're dealing with probate courts and probate documents. And obviously, you want to know if the person is deceased so that you can see who you need to reach out to. Just because a person has family and it's maybe a spouse or a daughter or a niece, nephew, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have ownership of the funds. So again, this is all of things that you need to figure out in the probate documents. What was filed, what was written, did they have a will? All of those things are basically what you're going to need to know if you're doing deceased claims. I kind of stay away from those because it's just an extra hurdle, to be honest. But if you have worked in probate before, or maybe you've worked for a probate lawyer, maybe these things are easy for you and it's just like second nature. So you can try these if you like. The third one, you want to check the court websites. There's a reason why I have all 50 states and U.S. territories where I'm going in and I'm showing you the leads and how to find or what the websites look like. I show you that for a reason because those are important. That's sort of like your go-to. That website has so many different types of information on there, the local rules, the clerks, who you need to call, the telephone numbers, if they're closed for the holidays or not. All of that information is found on the court website. So why not go and check it out? The next thing, our next tip, number 4, is make sure after having gone to those websites, call the clerk, call the staff. If you are unclear on something that's listed on their site, ask them about it. And you may have to ask for a more seasoned clerk because sometimes if you're reaching out to the main number and you get the main clerk that picks up, that's probably a high turnover position that clerk is in. So you may want to reach out to, hey, is there a more like a supervisor, or maybe you don't want to speak to the deputy clerk, but if that's the only person that's available and it's a smaller district, they may have all the answers for you. Maybe a financial administrator. You need to find out who is in charge to handle your questions and maybe send emails. Don't be afraid to reach out to these individuals. These public officials are there for a reason, and you have to use them. They may not be the most friendly to work with, but when they're processing your paperwork, you're going to have to see them again, and you're going to hear from them again if you are going to be working in that district for more than one time. So just make sure that you are aware of that. If you are in a district that you work in a lot, you may want to pay a visit and go down to the bankruptcy court where you are, and just so they can put a face with a name. I mean, that may be helpful. Bring them some donuts. I mean, I don't know. Just try to be friendly toward them. They are government workers. They're there. They probably don't really want to be there, but you have to make sure that you are using them to get the information that you need. Call them. Make them work for you is what I mean. The last thing on this list is to update your CRMs. That's so important. Now that I've gotten payment from this and like the other payments that I've gotten, I always make a note and I close the file in my CRM. I don't want to keep things open if they're closed. You don't want to make the mistake of keep calling someone because you're not really realizing, oh, they've already gotten their check, or oh, this is already closed. So every time you reach out to someone, you send an email, you send a letter, whatever, a flyer, you've called family members, whoever, whatever the contact is that you made, make sure you're updating your CRM with that information. If you've gotten the check, make sure you put that on there. If you've gotten the order, make sure you put the date, maybe even a copy of the order in your CRM. Just make sure you have good records all the way around, and that is just going to help you overall. So I hope that these little tidbits of information are probably sprinkled throughout my YouTube channel. And I do go over this extensively a lot more in my course, with the exception of deceased claimants, because I don't really work those as much. But I do tell you where you can go to find information on those. So again, I hope that this information is out there is helpful to you. I hope that you are feeling motivated about the deal that I got in Connecticut, and just the process. Again, it is faster, so you may want to check that district out. If you have any other questions, please email me at springsolutionsllc@gmail.com. I would prefer you email me rather than call me. And stay tuned. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.